To get started, once again, thank you everybody and welcome and happy Wednesday to you all. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to join us. My name is Charles Woolen. I'm the Assistant Director of Alumni Engagement at UC Law SF, and I co-lead our chapters and affinity groups with Hannah Athanasios. Excited to talk about our big news there in just a little bit, but I'd also like to turn it over to our Chief Development Officer, Eric Dumbleton, to say a few words to begin today.
Yeah, thanks, Charles. So I already spoke quite a bit, which I'm wont to do, as you guys know, especially when I'm talking about campus and everything that's happening here. But primarily, I just wanted to thank you guys for everything that you do to support the school. I also want to thank Meredith and Charles and Hayden and Hannah for their work leading our engagement effort. I like to remind myself sometimes when I started back in 2015, we had no director of alumni engagement. We had no one who was overseeing a strategy or a vision for engaging our community. And as you all know, we were extraordinarily fortunate and lucky to hire Meredith, and she's put together a fantastic team. And so it's exciting and just gratifying to see all of the great things that Meredith's team is leading, and gratifying to see all of you participating and helping to kind of expand and activate our networks, whether it's a geographic location or an affinity affiliation. So it's all happening. It takes some time, but just wanted to, again, thank each and every one of you for all that you do to support the school. We're glad and grateful that you're with us in this endeavor. We care deeply about the institution, as I think you all know, but just to kind of emphasize that the whole team here has great passion for the work that we do, and we couldn't do it without you. So thanks for everything that you do, and I'll hand it back over to Charles. I can stay on for about 20 minutes. I'm going to have to jump off, but I look forward to hearing some updates and look forward to seeing a lot of you in person, hopefully sometime soon.
Thanks very much, Eric, and hope you stay dry over there. All right, well, the next topic is I'd like to congratulate my co-colleague and partner here who will be leading the chapters and affinity groups, Hannah Athanasios. It is very much earned, and very excited to introduce you to the rest of the group. Excited to have you on board to lead these groups. And I'd like to introduce Meredith, who will then turn it over to Hannah, who is gonna chat a little bit and introduce herself. You already know her, but it's awesome to continue the progress that we've had with these groups. And Hannah is gonna continue to crush it and be a big piece of the team and our success that we've had so far. Very proud of it. But over to you, Meredith.
Well, thank you, Charles. It's great to see y'all. It is so gratifying just to see your faces and see how the chapters and affinity groups have grown and how our volunteer alumni engagement continues to thrive. We couldn't do it without you and your leadership and your great ideas and how you lead with your hearts and the passion that you have. It's just so amazing to see. It is my pleasure and very excited to tell you that Hannah Athanasios has been promoted to Alumni Engagement Program Manager. Hannah started as a coordinator and did a lot of administrative work. And I would say she's been here 2 years, but I think it's like 2 years in April, May. It feels like forever, Hannah. It feels like you've been a part of the team. She absolutely dove right in. She wanted to learn everything about alumni engagement and about the law school. Last year specifically, she took a co-lead on our City Hall event at Spring Week and did a phenomenal job. And she has helped lead some of our smaller events. And so now it's time to let her fly and this year she's going to be doing a lot of the leadership for Spring Week and various events that we have on campus and off campus, and then co-lead the chapter and affinity groups. She also co-leads the Alumni Association Board of Governors, which has been such a joy to see continue to thrive. So Hannah, these are your peoples. Welcome.
Thank you, Meredith. Thank you, everyone, for joining. So nice to see so many familiar faces. Yeah, as they said, I've been at UC Law for around 1.5 years now. I've worked with some of the chapters and affinity groups in the past, just helping out with events and, attending these summits. But I primarily worked with the Board of Governors before, and y'all might remember me from continuously pushing our new online alumni network on you. I'm super excited to work closer with all of you this year and closer with Charles, and just really looking forward to strengthening the amazing 21 chapters and affinity groups that we already have, and maybe even helping out with some new ones. So looking forward to this meeting and hopefully seeing some of y'all in person soon.
If you can, and you have a button on the emoji or reaction, if we could just throw up a big clap for Hannah, that'd be great. There it is, and a thumbs up from Mike. Awesome. All right. Welcome again, Hannah. And I'm gonna quickly share my screen. I'm gonna give a couple updates here on what we've got going on. Hannah and I are going to kind of tag team this part a little bit here, but again, welcome to the Chapter and Affinity Group Summit. We're a resource. Now we've got 2 dedicated people on the Office of Advancement and part of the Alumni Association leading our groups. So we want to be a resource to you. Number 2, the holidays are for celebrating. We had 6 different groups do holiday happy hours, and I'm hoping that becomes a tradition here for the groups. Just going down the list a little bit about that, I just want to give the various groups a shout out. Denver did a repeat event at Cherry Cricket, which is a venue that they like a lot. Congratulations again with a very successful happy hour. Our Austin team did a very successful happy hour as well, with other people from other parts outside of Austin. Downtown LA had a happy hour at a brewery in Chinatown. And Palm Springs also had a happy hour out in a different area in Rancho Cucamonga, I believe, which was also very successful. And they've already come up with some other ideas for their future events. Hannah, why don't you take it away on West LA's kind of cool happy hour with the karaoke and the San Francisco chapter?
Yeah, well, as Charles said, West LA had an awesome holiday happy hour at a karaoke place. And so, we always love to see events that are, we love the happy hours, but every now and then it's great to do something a little different. So loved to see that. San Francisco chapter had a happy hour at Standard Deviant Brewing. We saw great attendance at that one, particularly amongst class of 21, 22, 23 grads. So that was awesome, breeding the new generation of alums. So it was great.
And also on that note, we have some new chapter leaders in San Francisco who are very ambitious. So very excited about that as well. They're already planning their next event. Updates part 2, major milestone to tell you about. We're going to tell you about this a little bit as a bullet point in just a moment, but our Black Alumni Council has reached an incredible major milestone. They have officially endowed a scholarship. Excited to tell you about that in a little bit. Also, we have experienced a lot of success with our annual fund and annual giving operation. You're going to hear in a little bit from Hayden Reynolds, our colleague, about how to get involved in giving days. Those have been monumental, and Hayden sits right in between where Hannah and I sit in our office, and often just shouts out the numbers, and gives amazing updates on his work. So excited to center that as well today. On tap, Hannah, Spring Week 2024. When is it? When do the tickets go on sale?
Tickets are set to go on sale on Thursday, tomorrow, February 1st. Very excited. I cannot wait to, check that ticket site every couple hours. Spring Week is set for April 1st through 7th. We're gonna start off on Wednesday with a fireside chat featuring Dean Fagman and alumna Kristen Sverchek, who is the president of Lyft. On Thursday, we'll have Spring Giving Day. And then on Friday, we'll have tours of the new building and our City Hall event. And Saturday will be our milestone reunion jazz brunch and our Giants, Alumni Night at the Giants event. I won't go into too much detail because I know Meredith's going to talk about Spring Week later, but we are so excited. Last year was fantastic, and this year is going to be even better.
We've got some planned expansion coming up here in the late summer, early fall. Hannah, I'm sorry to pitch it back to you, but where do you think that we're going to be heading to add our 22nd and 23rd chapter?
I think we're going north, Charles. I think we are hitting the PNW next. So Portland, Seattle, get ready for us because we are going to start chapters there.
And our last item of note is Hannah and I are going to present a chapter handbook at the end of this meeting. It'll be about 5 to 6 minutes, and it's a little 3-page document. It'll be your guide, and that guide has some expectations in it, and also just gives you the lay of the land. If you have any questions, you can refer to that at any time, but that's an important piece of what we do here. Let it be your roadmap. Let it be your guide. And if there's any questions, you can always reach out to us. Once again, thank you. Our groups are 100% volunteer run and led. And let us know about any event or any idea. We're here, again, as a resource. Not to sound too redundant. Now I'm going to turn it over to Meredith Jagger, the Executive Director of the Alumni Association, once again to talk a little bit about Spring Week 2024, our third Spring Week, award-winning Spring Week, and give a little bit of a campus-wide update on some other events that are going on this spring. Hi, Meredith, over to you.
Thank you. So as Charles mentioned, I don't think the last time that we met, I got to announce the exciting news that Spring Week won 4 awards through CASE, which is a higher ed alumni relations development nonprofit that is an industry standard kind of benchmark that we all use. And Spring Week was recognized. We got 2 bronze and 2 gold medals, if you will. We placed first and third for the innovation for Spring Week, and then the alumni relations pivot because of the pandemic. The great news is that I didn't tell anybody that I had nominated us, and so this year, that was just the first year. So really looking forward to including everybody in the process for our second year of Spring Week. And then third year, I'm thinking we'll just take over everything and we'll do a big sweep. This year for Spring Week, Hannah mentioned we definitely have a lot of the same events, but we also have some student-centered events. The Wednesday fireside chat will be in the Dev Colloquium Room and will really be for students in person. We will offer a virtual option for our alumni to watch. And then our reunion celebrators, which will be those people that graduated with a 4 or a 9, will be celebrated at City Hall. We also have revamped our Alumni of the Year award. It's been given out in the past in different capacities, but we're proud to announce that Matt Davis will be receiving the award at City Hall. And then another new addition to Spring Week is that for the Giants game, we have the option and will have the option to do student-sponsored tickets. And that will be $100 that alumni will give to sponsor students to attend the baseball game. This comes from Kathy Ongiri, who is the Board of Governors. She decided she couldn't come last minute last year and wanted to have 2 students come. So we thought, why don't we open it up to everybody? And that will be all the students will submit to a lottery, and then we will give tickets to those people that are selected. So Spring Week's looking amazing. It's the home opener weekend for the Giants, new manager. It's going to be amazing. The first 100 people that buy tickets to the Giants game will receive a commemorative limited edition Spring Week Giants hat that we have designed. Charles, if you want to put it in the chat, it's pretty snazzy. And there'll also be, there we go. It is pretty cool. And there will also be bobbleheads given out at the game through the Giants. So we're really looking forward to Spring Week. I know, Maria, isn't that awesome? We're really looking forward to Spring Week. We also, a new addition this year that I'm very excited about is the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir will be singing and doing a performance on the steps of City Hall inside to open up the program. It'll be about 10 or 15 minutes before we do the Alum of the Year and have remarks from Dean Fagman. So all in all, Spring Week, it's worth coming to, it's worth flying to. I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone there. We, on campus, we do have a few events coming up. February 29th, we have the dedication of the Wiley Manual Scholarly Journal publication room in 198. Please let me know if you did not get the email about that to RSVP. The speaker lineup is absolutely incredible. Really looking forward to that. And April 11th, and I know Andrew and Liz will talk about this. April 11th, we are having a Black Alumni Council's celebration for their endowed scholarship that they have reached that milestone. Happy to answer any questions or send it back to Charles.
Meredith, can you tell us what the tickets are for Spring Week?
What are they for?
Yeah, is it necessary to buy tickets to even participate in Spring Week?
It is, yes. There'll be tickets for Friday. So there'll be tours of 198 on Friday at different times. That will be, you don't need a ticket for that. There will be tickets to Friday night at City Hall. If you're a reunion celebrator, a milestone reunion celebrator on Saturday, we'll have a reunion jazz brunch on the quad. That will be ticketed. And then Saturday night for the Giants Padres game, that will be ticketed as well. And the tickets go on sale tomorrow at 8 a.m. all with early bird pricing. And it's kind of a deal.
Good.
Yeah, not
Okay.
just kind of a deal. It's a pretty good deal. So sign up when you can for early bird and be part of Spring Week. It's an incredible week, and we're very proud to put it on every year, and we're excited. It is now my pleasure to turn it over to my colleague Hayden Reynolds to talk a little bit about our Day of Giving and some of the successes that he's been experiencing over the last couple of years in increasing our annual fund and our numbers and our participation rates. Over to you, Hayden.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you to the whole alumni team here, and thank you to all of our chapter and affinity group leaders here. Charles has pasted up the upcoming banner head for our Giving Day that is coming up as part of Spring Week. This will be our third Giving Day that's exclusive to our school. As you know, we participate both in Giving Tuesday, which happens after the week after Thanksgiving every year. This past year, we raised about $165,000 during our Giving Tuesday, and our previous Giving Day of Spring Week, we raised close to $50,000. So that's thanks to the generosity of all of our alumni around the world, and you all are part of that. I'm excited to share that this year for our Giving Day, we're adding a bit of a brand to it. Instead of just saying UC Law SF Giving Day, it's now going to be called Raising the Bar, a one-day giving event for UC Law SF. Ties in there nicely with both fundraising and the legal profession. Working on getting our Giving Day site ready for us in April right now with our vendor. And one of the ways that your groups can participate is to build fundraising pages. As both the Latinx Alumni Council and the Black Alumni Council built pages for Giving Tuesday, and the Black Alumni Council raised a fair amount of money towards the endowed scholarship that they'll talk about in just a few minutes. So it was worth it, and you could support scholarships with that page. You could support student organizations. We can help you figure out a way to make your alumni group make a difference at the school. So excited to announce that, and I guess that's it. I have been in this role for about just over 2 years now, and we've seen a phenomenal response from our alumni in supporting the efforts at the school, particularly in the past couple of years when giving overall is actually down amongst higher education. We continue to actually engage and have more support from our alumni, and I want to say thank you all for that.
Thank you very much, Hayden, for that. And I particularly love that mark there for the Day of Giving. And you kind of get lost in that mark with all the city skyline and the inspiring mark that you created there. And just amazing work. And thank you for that update. I now want to turn it over to my colleague, Liz Maggi, Director of Development for Northern California, who's going to introduce our Board of Director, Andrew Houston, who will talk a little bit about the Black Alumni Council Scholarship and the milestone that we have reached there. So over to you, Liz.
I am so happy to be joining you this morning. Oh, sorry, my plant is peeking over. And I've had the pleasure of meeting most of you and the pleasure of attending many of your events. So I've seen firsthand how great it's been to expand the alumni chapters and get other alumni involved, some of them for the first time in many, many years. So it's been great to see. And I have the pleasure of introducing Andrew Houston, who is one of the leaders, I would say our main leader of our Black Alumni Council. He is a member of our board of directors, alum of 07. And he really took on, without giving too much away so he can really share about it, he really took on this initiative of establishing an endowed scholarship for a student who is a member of our BALSA organization on campus. And in just a year and a few months, we have raised the $100,000 minimum to endow the scholarship. And I know he will say we are not done there. We are going to continue to raise funds to hopefully, just support additional students as time goes on. So Andrew just did a really great job reaching out to different alumni. He, helped us get a grant from an organization that really helped us get to the finish line, and has done a great job of the stewardship piece and letting everyone know after how important this is. So we're very excited to celebrate on April 11th as well. And with that, I will let Andrew talk more about it.
Hey, Liz, and hey, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about the endowed scholarship. Apologies for not being on this video and having my emoji up here, but I'm actually on paternity leave right now. You can probably hear my daughter in the background, so I'm kind of on daddy duty right now, so it's hard to be on the camera and balance her out. But this is so important that I definitely want to take time, out of my leave to discuss. So yeah, so we had this dream like 14 months ago to have an endowed scholarship for our Black Law Students Association members, and as Liz mentioned, like the minimum threshold to start the endowment is $100,000. So our goal initially was to raise $100,000 in order to start the scholarship. Once it gets endowed at the $100,000 mark, you can give out about a $5,000 scholarship in perpetuity, to use some language from property class. And so, now we're able to give out, at least around a $5,000 scholarship in perpetuity. As the scholarship grows, we'll be able to give out more money. So that's kind of to Liz's point that we want to keep growing the scholarship. And so, wherever your affinity group is located, like, if you want, you could kind of start your own endowment for your particular affinity group. You actually have 5 years to raise the 100,000. So it's like a pretty long period. Like we were fortunate enough to raise it like in less than a year and a half, but it's not you have to raise the money like within a year. So you have like a pretty long period of time to kind of do that. Part of it is just kind of like to Liz's point, the hustle of like networking and letting folks know about the scholarship. So we're pretty active on social media. We have a Black Alumni LinkedIn page as well. So, a lot of it was just, letting folks know. We had an event both in San Francisco and in Los Angeles, and all the staff came to Los Angeles, so we appreciate that. And they helped us organize the event in both LA and San Francisco. So it was super helpful to, have staff, help us like, spread the word, create the flyer, manage the RSVPs, help us get food, all that good stuff. We're so grateful for that. And we just had like a lot of momentum, we had just have folks who were super supportive of it. Even though it is the Black Alumni Scholarship, we had a lot of, non-African American folks also donate. As Liz mentioned, we also got a grant. I wrote my first grant, was the California Lawyers Foundation. So we got a $25,000 grant from them. So a lot of it was just, like just really hustling and trying to spread the word and just find folks who want to support a really awesome cause. A bunch of lawyers on the call, so you're probably wondering, how do we get around Proposition 209, which is now almost 28 years old, that says you can't give preferences based on race or gender. Anybody could join the Black Law School Students Association, so therefore anybody could get the scholarship who's a member of that organization. So, the organization is open to anyone regardless of race, and so anybody could get the scholarship who's just a part of the association. You don't necessarily have to be African American. We've actually had presidents of that organization in the past be non-African American folks. So the organization is absolutely inclusive. So if you have similar affinity group issues like that, then just make sure that anybody could join the group, and also anybody could apply to the scholarship. So I'll stop and pause there. We're super excited to keep growing the scholarship. We're going to have a kickoff on April 11th to just, thank the founding donors, and then also just celebrate the milestone as we move forward. Our goal, hopefully, at some point in my time being involved, will hopefully be hit $1 million at some point. But this is a good start. So I'll stop there, and happy to answer any questions that folks on the call have.
Thanks so much, Andrew. And I know you mentioned, we're extra appreciative because Andrew has 2 little ones at home. So we're grateful that you were able to get some time to chat with us. But as Andrew said, if you have any questions about considering this, or for your affinity group or anything like that, you can direct it to Andrew, myself, Charles, Hannah. So we're happy to help. But we are excited for this milestone. And with that, I'll pass back to you, Charles.
I have one question for Charles. It's Tracy. First of all, congratulations on your baby and your scholarship. Both are so amazing. And my question is, who decides who gets the scholarship? Do you guys have a selection board or an interview panel, or does the school just decide?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. We actually just start raising the money before we even thought about those questions, So what we're gonna do is like we have kind of like the Black Alumni Council, like I mean we're kind of like a mini board, So like members of the Black Alumni Council are gonna kind of dictate that. And then our criteria, I think we're gonna do 2Ls. So I think we're gonna go do 2Ls as a criteria, but you could kind of set up your own criteria per se. But yeah, like the school doesn't necessarily have to have like a voting member or somebody who has say on it, per se. Even though the money does run through the school, which I know some people, like I've talked to other folks who aren't as keen on that, to be frank with you. But the good thing about us, the money running through the school is they can manage it and invest it. But also, like when I applied to that grant, we had to be a 501c3, and UCs are 501c3s by nature. So we were able to like qualify as a 501c3 that's in order to get that scholarship. So our criteria is just going to be like a small group of folks who are on the Alumni Council board, and we're just going to set the criteria most likely as you have to be a 2L who's a member of the organization, along with some obviously other criteria.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the question, Tracy, and appreciate the presentation, Liz and Andrew. Once again, if everybody could just give a little heart or applauding emoji again for this incredible milestone. It's a very special moment for us as a community and our team. Andrew has worked really hard on this, and this isn't the first that you'll see of this, and this will continue to grow from here. And that's the idea with these calls, is for everybody to hear from one another, be inspired, and connect. When we connect on these calls, we make our community stronger. And I truly believe that. Not to overtalk this, I would like to now present our little handbook that Hannah and I have prepared for you for the year. And so Hannah and I are gonna have a little discussion and present this handbook to you. Again, this will be kind of your guide. It'll be your roadmap for the year. And if you have any questions on this at all, you can let us know. We're gonna drop this into the chat once again. I don't think that you need too much of an overview or too much about the goals of what we're doing, but again, the last 3 bullet points here on the goals are important: supporting our alumni association and keeping alumni informed and engaged on campus developments, spring week, and being also involved in career development, mentoring, and being on our online platform as well. Supporting our giving days, which is what you heard from Hayden. Let's talk a little bit about the chapter structure and responsibilities. Each chapter, 1 to 3 leaders, depending on the size of the chapter. Our DC chapter actually has 4 to 5 leaders, which works for them. But if you want to add any leaders, please let us know. We always want to, have people involved with these groups. Hannah, take it away a little bit about the responsibilities here.
Sorry, I could not figure out how to unmute myself while
Oh,
screen
you're doing
sharing.
great.
Okay, so the other responsibilities would primarily be just working with us when you have events coming up to market them, get the word out, collect RSVPs, things like that. Also, when we do have events, helping to find sponsors is a great way of participating and, stepping into the leadership role with the chapters. We always appreciate, having firms or individuals. Any type of sponsorship works and is much appreciated. Wow. Okay. So what we do is check in with the group leaders. We send the marketing out, which is mostly a save the date. And then there's typically one more invite and then a know before you go, and then the post-event thank yous. And before each event, we'll send chapter leaders an RSVP list that is for, internal use as chapter leaders. These are the resources that are available to each group. As we just said, there are the email marketing blasts. We can do some social media postings. We pretty much always post events on our online alumni network, so things like that. We add it to the website. For events held on campus, we can do light snacks and beverages most of the time. And then we'll, provide the RSVP lists and things like that. And we can provide contact lists of alumni in the area. I will pass it back to Charles now.
Yeah, and obviously focused on events. And those types of events can be anything. Obviously, we see a lot of happy hours, and those are very easy. But in 2024 and moving into the future, we want to challenge y'all to potentially do other things outside of the happy hour. Could that be community service? Could that be a specific networking event and maybe attaching a dinner or a luncheon to that, or a brunch with networking? We've seen that museum tours have been successful. Our New York City chapter has done an annual virtual museum tour during COVID. And we've seen some sporting events. Obviously, we have our Giants game here in San Francisco, but Denver hosted a baseball game out at the Rockies during the summertime. And Liz was out there with our leader, Captain Mike McPhail, as well on the call here. Other ways to be involved, a brunch with the dean. We saw our DC chapter do a brunch with the dean at the Kennedy Center, which was a really special event, very exclusive event. If you ever would like the dean to be in your area, please let us know as soon as you can, because his schedule gets booked up pretty quickly. A welcome to your city, potentially for newer graduates, 6 at 6s, or scholarship dinners. Again, these are just suggestions. Feel free to be creative with the idea. No idea is a bad idea. We want to work with you. So that's an example of events. Hannah, you had mentioned something about sponsorship. Can I ask you, did we have some sponsorship for the Latinx alumni event from somebody on this call, from Hanson Bridget? I believe we sponsored a taco bar, and then did we have somebody that sponsored a charcuterie board for our LGBTQ chapter kickoff for Pride last year? Was that right? Can you tell us more?
That is so right. For the Latinx Alumni Council launch event, which we had in September, I believe, up on the Sky Deck, we had a fabulous taco bar from a local vendor that was sponsored by David Casarubias at Hanson Bridget. We loved that. That was amazing. And we also had a fabulous charcuterie spread from another local vendor, Burke and Black, who's right across the street from us. We love them. For the LGBTQ event in June, which I believe was sponsored by the Deason Group. Is that right? Alum Jonathan Deason and his group. So that was amazing. And great examples of how you can sponsor an event, or, chip in something to make the event, take it up a level. So 2 great sponsorships we've had recently.
And to that, and it's kind of easy to sponsor as well. So if you might want to be able to give $250 to $500 to help sponsor the event. That really does help the event. That gives it life. It gives it wings. And we can work with you if you or your firm is able to sponsor an event. And that's really all it takes, is as minimal as those kind of costs. And of course, the Alumni Association is always willing to help out with doing light snacks and appetizers on the Sky Deck. But it does go a longer way if you or your firm, or someone from a firm that would like to potentially sponsor for a couple extra $100. So our expectations here is that each group is expected to hold 1 to 4 events per year. This is depending on size. So I'm looking at y'all from San Francisco and Los Angeles area. The expectation is higher. It's about 2 to 4 events per year. for our smaller groups, that would be 1 to 2 events per year. Obviously, you guys are highly encouraged to attend these calls. They're always going to be recorded, and to be in contact with Hannah and I to discuss, to set up our events. And after this call, Hannah and I will be circulating this recording, but also going to be reaching out to every group to meet with you one-on-one, just to talk and to chat a little bit, get to know one another, and then see if we can pencil in dates for the remaining part of this year, or maybe even next year if you want to do something bigger with the dean, etc. Another piece of importance here is our data. While we strive to be 100% accurate, sometimes we don't have all the complete information, and sometimes we'll need some of our volunteer leaders and chapter leaders to help us out. So if you do know someone that has an email address or phone number that has changed, or mailing address, let us know. We are happy to update that address for you. We want to make sure that that's accurate. We do encounter some folks that say, hey, I wasn't invited to this, or hey, I didn't get the invitation, or hey, I didn't get this to this right inbox, or junk mail, or etc. And we do see that, and I get it. I get that quite frequently, but in the last year or so, having a streamlined process for updating that, and through your work and helping us out, that's been awesome. So a little piece on data there. Hannah, why don't you finish us out here with some pro tips and communicating with us?
Yeah, so as we kind of touched on, the quality of the event matters more than the quantity of events that you have. So an event where we have a great sponsor and enough of a heads up to really market it is always going to be better than having just a bunch of events during the year. Events where we can really get a lot of people there to meet and mingle and form connections is always great, which is why it's best to start small with a solid core and then grow into something larger. We do ticket every chapter and affinity group events. We get questions about that sometimes. We charge a fee of, it's normally $10 for alumni, $5 for recent alums, so folks that have graduated in the last 10 years, and then they'll be free for students for the events that students are invited to. The reason we do this is because it creates a stickier RSVP. It just helps us get way more accurate counts for catering purposes and staffing. So that's why we ticket every event. And that is, a piece of advice that we can share about the events. It does work really well. Feel free to communicate with us whenever you need. We are here to support you. We are always down to hop on a phone call with y'all, schedule a meeting. We really want to see these chapters and affinity groups grow, and we are super here for y'all. So you have our contact info there. Again, we'll be contacting all of you after this meeting to try to set something up, but it's never a bad time. So keep us in your thoughts when you're thinking of who to talk to as a resource for these.
I have one more question for you guys.
Yeah.
Tracy again. Do you guys have access to the admitted student files, so that, for example, especially the chapters that are not in California, if we could get people who, in our case, who are from Austin, maybe they graduated from UT and they're going to Hastings, or even in the general area, that we could do a local welcome event, and they could meet the alums in the chapter.
Hi, Tracy. Yes, we do have access to that. And we usually do a few events in one in LA, San Francisco, DC, and New York for the year. Let me be in touch with you in admissions to see about any fellow Texans in the area. That would be great.
It may not be a very big pool, but even if there are just one or two, it might be a good excuse to gin up an event and have everybody come.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's always important. And when we see the power of our alumni with newly admitted students, there's no greater power than that.
Meredith, did you have a question?
Um, as always, great work, y'all. I just want to make sure, just to clear one thing up, just so that way there's no confusion. The tickets for all a chapter and affinity group events go towards student scholarship or towards, for example, anything that we've done for the Black Alumni Council has gone towards the Black Alumni Council scholarship. So those tickets, whether they be $5 or $10, do have a purpose of creating sticky RSVPs, but it also gives back to the school in any specific, if it's not specified, it goes to the general scholarship, or it can be specified to another scholarship.
Does that mean that those tickets are all tax deductible?
Rick, such a great question. I'm the executive director of the Alumni Association, so let me talk to the people above me to get the answer to that. But I
Yeah,
believe
because I thought it was to just cover the cost, and if it's really all going to a scholarship fund, and you're a tax free, the university is a tax free organization. I can't say $5 or $10 is going to break the bank, but it's sometimes an inducement to get people to send the money if they know
yeah.
it's a tax deductible thing.
I believe that it is. It's definitely not to cover the cost of the event. It serves two purposes: to support our students and then to help us with RSVPs. Just to give you kind of a sense, a few years ago, before the pandemic, we didn't have a ticketing process, and we had a 50%, 50 to 60% no-show rate on all of our events that were quote unquote free events where people just registered.
Yeah, Meredith, just to quickly add to that, it should be, and we will double check. It is a gift. It goes towards scholarship, so it does not go towards the cost of the event. The only reason it may not be, so we will double check, is if for some reason it's considered, there's a fair market value essentially. So if it's considered that you're giving $10 and you're receiving $10 worth of goods, services, food, whatever it might be. But we'll just have to double check the technicality of that, but it should be a gift.
Good. And when you say a sticky RSVP, that's you're talking about, Meredith, that if people spend money on something, they're more likely to appear.
That's right. You'll remember Robin Dry. This is how this all started when I first started here. Robin Drysdale did a wine tasting, I think, for 100 people in the ARC, and she set out 5 wine glasses for all 100 people, and 20, maybe 15 people showed up. And we said
And they're all drunk by the end of the event.
Yeah. So, we learned from that lesson. And it's really paid dividends. I would say that, some of our events that we have absolutely have somewhere 98 to 100% of people that show up. On an average event, I would probably say in the high 80s to 90% that show up.
Good.
Thank you for those questions. I guess we'll open up to just general questions now. If you have questions on anything we discussed previously in this meeting, anything in the handbook, ask away.
Sounds like crickets.
Yeah.
This is Maria Dominguez from the Latinx Alumni Council. I just want to say that I learned a lot from the questions that were asked earlier, and especially about connecting with admitted students. So I just responded to our Latinx Law Students Association students who are hosting our annual alumni dinner on April 12th, and definitely will reach out to them because I know, I forget if during my admitted student year, if I got maybe an email from the LALSA or the La Raza law students like welcoming me or congratulating me, but maybe that is something that, we could pair up to get those to admitted students. I think that would be a nice touch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you, Maria. Roderick, I'm gonna drop the website in the chat, but we do have a list on the site. So I'm sending that.
And I love the question about the multi-chapter events. You're very blessed to have so many cool regions down in Southern California. I know that there's been a little bit of chatter about maybe doing kind of a Palm Springs get together, or potentially Palm Springs more on a weekend type of situation. We've heard from other people in Los Angeles or San Diego that they'd be more willing to do that, Roderick. So, and then to your above question, Hannah and I will also be making a way for all of you to contact one another in a little bit more of a seamless way, so that we can all be together, so that we can do those type of events. And those are great questions. Thank you for those. Oh, and then one last thing. We're going to plan for our next chapter summit to be after our spring week again, which is April 1st through the 7th. So we'll do it either second or third week of April before graduation in May, which is mid-May, and then we'll get that out to you as well.
All right, we're about to hit 1 o'clock. Does anyone have any final thoughts or questions before we end the meeting?
I just want to say to everybody who's on screen, off screen, that you all are the lifeblood of the Alumni Association. The way that the students see what's happening with the Alumni Association through chapters, affinity groups, through our volunteer boards, it is incredible, and it only makes us stronger as a law school. And it is incredibly gratifying that you all take your time and your energy and your effort to keep our alumni community strong. So I know that every meeting we end up just saying thank you, thank you, thank you, but truly thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You all make this happen, and you all are an inaugural group of people that have set the stage for alumni engagement at the law school for years to come. So thank you for everything. You make our job so much fun. It's so great to travel down to your locales and get to chat with you. And please don't be a stranger. Just we want to hear from you and want to hear feedback and all of your ideas. And Charles and Hannah, I know, feel the same way. So thank you for all that you do. It's just absolutely incredible.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining. We'll reaffirm what Meredith said. It is so great having y'all as, chapter and affinity group leadership. The work you're doing is so important and much appreciated. And we will let you go now. But bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.